Hi, I'm AngieB, and today, should say this morning, I wanted to talk to you about secondary loss. It's a term that I had not really heard about, but I had experienced it more than once. Before I get started, I'd like to tell you what my channel is about. Again, I said my name is AngieB, and my channel is for Black women who have entered into the life of widowhood. On my channel, I will share my 8 years of experience of becoming a widow and working through, moving forward through grief to joy. It is my hope, my prayer that me sharing my truth and my story, that I will be able to help at least one woman not to feel so isolated and to know that the things that you're feeling, the emotions, the things that you're going through, that they're normal. We all experience grief differently, but we all go through the emotional turmoil of such a traumatic event in our life. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is secondary grief. I'm sorry, secondary loss. As I said earlier, it is something that I have experienced, but I didn't have a name for it. I didn't know that that's what it was. First, I want to give you the definition of what the primary loss is, which is what we all know and associate with grief. The primary loss is that individual that has passed away and that is no longer actively in your life. It's your loved one that has passed away. The secondary losses that we all experience, they're the things and the roles that you've lost as a result of the absence of your loved one. Some of the examples are loss of control and stability, loss of your family structure, loss of your future hopes and dreams, loss of a sense of security, loss of a confidant, loss of future grandchildren. It could be the loss of a travel companion, loss of financial stability, loss of a dinner date, loss of having someone to share your most inner thoughts, your personal feelings with, that you were comfortable sharing with that particular person. It could be loss of a home. It could be loss of happiness and laughter. It could be loss of your own personal identity. When I started looking this up, and like I said, I didn't even realize that it was a thing. When I started looking up this information and I started digging deeper and deeper in, what I realized is I actually suffered from secondary loss when my father passed. I was 16 years old when my father passed, and I was the only child still left at home. And I did a lot of things with my father. One of which was I'd go fishing with him. He went fishing with his brothers and sisters. He had a very large family, and he used to go fishing with his brothers and sisters. I would go with him. He would go to his brothers and sisters' house every weekend. We would go over someone's house. The adults would play bid whist cards, and the kids we would play spades. And so this was a family time that I spent with him all the time. And my father did pass away suddenly. And I lost not only him, but I lost that family time of going to my aunts and uncles' houses to spend time with family. So that was a huge loss for me. And because of that, I formed, I guess, in my life growing up, I wanted my children to have that family bond with family. And so um, I started to create, what I remember having as a young child. I started to create that for my children. And to have that family structure that I grew up having. Um, so when my husband passed, again, it was suddenly when he passed, we kind of lost that structure that I had built around our family life. So I can see where my children probably felt a lot like I did, that, we lost the family structure of our immediate family because their father had passed away. Um, and like I said, I know that I know now that that's what I experienced from my father. And I now know that that is also what I experienced from my husband, because friendships, for example, friends that maybe the two of you had together, those people, because they don't really know what to say or how to say, or maybe they're feeling some kind of way because of the loss of your loved one. Maybe they have, they're grieving as well. And because they're grieving, they step back. And so you lose that relationship in addition to the relationship that you had with your spouse. You lose also, maybe it's things that your spouse did around the house. It could be something as simple as mowing the lawn. Excuse me. Sorry, my dog. It could be something as simple as mowing the lawn that your husband used to do, that now it's something you never had to think about, you never had to deal with. Now you're having to figure out, how do I do this? How do I accomplish this? Who do I call to get this type of thing done? Um, you also have, you may feel that you've lost control and stability because your spouse is now gone. So one of the ways that you can possibly help with that is you can maybe write down all the things. And this is going to be a hard list because your spouse did a lot of things that you didn't really think about or even know about. But maybe if you can, just take time as you're going through your day, if you think of something that he handled, come up with a list of different things that he did around the house. And maybe if you can, before you actually need it, maybe you can come up with different answers of what you can do about this thing or that thing, or even, ask someone to handle those things for you as they come up, rather than to wait. I should say this, rather than to wait when they come up, because at that point you're going to have anxiety, because you're not only going to have the issue of that thing needs to be addressed, but you're also going to feel that secondary sadness because now this is another thing that you have to deal with that you never had to deal with before. This is another role that you have to take on that you never even thought about it before. So if whatever things that you can think of to write down that you can maybe try to get an answer for before it actually happens, that might help. You have also another secondary loss is a confidant, someone that maybe you felt comfortable talking to about different things, where you don't feel comfortable just talking to everyone about these things. It could be that it could be something very, very personal to you that you wouldn't normally bring up to a family friend or to your children or to other people, but you felt very comfortable in having a conversation about this with your spouse. Where if you're in the home by yourself now, there are times that you were used to discussing, about your day, having a conversation about your future plans, what you're going to do in retirement, milestones that will happen with your children, your grandchildren. My youngest grandchild was born after my husband passed away. So just knowing that my husband will never meet his grandchild. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My dog picked up the loudest toy she could find to play with. And I'm sorry, that's what all the squealing was about. But that milestone that my grandson, who's named after his dad, who is named after my husband, who is the third, he will never be able to meet him. And so that's a sadness that, people don't think about, because when they think about grief, they think about the actual passing of that loved one. They don't think about all the other milestones that happen in your life for the rest of your life. He will never see our grandchildren get married, another milestone. He did see all of our children get married, but he won't see the grandchildren get married. He won't see the graduations of the grandchildren. These are things that when these things occur, of course, you're happy that these milestones are happening for the other members of your family, but you also have that sad thought of your spouse did not get to see that or experience that. And so this is also another sadness that happens within us. And nobody will really understand that because it's something that we personally go through continuously for the rest of our lives. I just wanted to come on today to define primary and secondary loss, because like I said, I didn't even realize that that was such a thing, secondary loss. I had never heard that before. I just, I ran across it, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's almost like we are we're not like anybody else. I don't want to say a misfit of people, but we don't fit in with married people anymore. We don't fit in with single people. Um, and I know that's something that when you have to mark on a form, and sometimes they won't even have widow on the form. And that always is a challenge for me, because it's like, what do I mark? You know, if it's just single, married, sometimes they'll have other on there. I'll mark other and I'll write in widow, but it really makes you think. So it's something that you have to think about all the time. So our identity as individuals has totally changed. And that's something else that we have to get adjusted to, learn how to live with, learn how to cope with, just learn how to be. Another thing that is a secondary loss is loss of traditions. And I think that's another reason why holidays are so difficult, because the traditions that you had with your spouse, yes, you have wonderful memories of those, and you will always have those. But those traditions, even if you form new traditions, those traditions have literally changed, from what they used to be. Another secondary loss is loss of former self, because you basically have to I can't even say the word, reinvent who you are as a person than you were before. So that's yet another thing that's unique to widows, that other people don't experience the secondary loss like we do. But they do have, like I said, my kids, they experience the primary loss and also the secondary loss. And the secondary loss is what things that are affected on a daily basis that particular person provided for, whoever we're talking about, whether it's me or whether it's my kids or even my grandkids. So secondary loss is a term that I just kind of discovered, and I wanted to share that with you. Again, my name is AngieB. My channel is for Black women over 50 who have entered into the life of widowhood. I will talk about my 8 years of experience with being a widow. And if this sounds like something that you would like to follow me on the content of the things that I discuss or talk about on my channel, I would urge you or invite you to click like and subscribe. So the next time I post a video or I go live, you will be aware of that and you can come and join into the community. I will also try to have some happy things on there, because even though we experience sadness in grief, we also do have some time of happiness and some smiles. I hope that each and every one of you through the holiday season, because I know that that is a difficult time for those of us that are grieving. I hope that at some point during the holiday season that you were able to smile and to have some happiness during the holiday season. And I also would like to just continue to encourage you to Give yourself grace. Be kind to yourself and try to do something really nice for yourself on a daily basis, even if it's something really small or if it's something really big, but do something to help yourself smile. I want to thank you for coming and listening to me this morning, and I hope that you all have a blessed day. Bye-bye. See you next time.